Hi, Croissant, welcome to part 2 of the Genesis LP data Undertow overload. We left you with, I've just become a grandfather for the 4th time, so I'm very happy, very grateful. So I'll take you back to when I was 12. 12, yeah, 12, and I opened this. And I'd bought Follow You, Follow Me on single, which I saw for £1 today. Didn't buy it, but it had the grey cover. This is a purple cover, and it's stormy, autumnal, wintry, and it's forever indelibly stamped onto my consciousness as an album full of imagery and melody, and it's by Genesis. It's called And Then There Were Three, and I remember listening to Ballad of Big, the B-side of Follow You, Follow Me, before the album came out, and thought what a wondrous song it was. Over the years it's turned into a bit of a pastiche, isn't it, of Western films, and Big Jim Cooley commanded respect, and a bit of a cartoon, but to me it still sounds like prog Genesis, so no one's going to knock that. If you want to attack Undertow, it's impossible. It's the most romantic, black and white, old grey whistle test classic song before the album was released. If that highlighted its grandeur and its majesty, the waves crashing against the rocks, you know, we've already got 2 songs and we haven't even mentioned Down and Out. The rockiest, hardest hitting Genesis song ever. Okay, slightly overproduced in its reverb, but drum patterns aplenty, which would make Neil Peart blush, if that's the saying. Then Snowbound, of course, I don't get the dark lyricism, so to me it's a wintry, romantic plea for childhood innocence. I know but to me it always will be. And then you got Burning Rope, which is the warming sun and the the warming sun, the cooling rain, the snowflake drifting on the breath of a breeze. They are 5 classic tracks. Let's not beat around the bush. Does it continue? Yes, it does. Side 2, Scenes from a Night's Dream. No, I'm not on about that. I'm on about Deep in the Motherlode. Probably live as well, the best song they've ever recorded. Prove me wrong. Absolutely incredible. It's definitely in a top 10 Genesis song. And then Many Too Many lets me down. It's too short. If you're going to do a bombastic pre-stadium ballad, it needs to be more bombastic. But maybe that's its saving grace, is that it doesn't go into what would prove to be the pretentious, stereotypical anthem. It's slightly refined, isn't it? It's a Banksian after all. Then we get into the letdowns. Scenes from a Night Dream should be funkier, but it isn't funkier. It's more of a cartoon. Say It's Alright Joe should work, and it did work, but it's tediously turgid, isn't it? It doesn't go anywhere, and it just repeats. And the ham acting from Phil is embarrassing live when we went to see them in Fair Gardens. So, you know, that didn't work. And then we get back to the Lady Lies, which we remember as a moral cautionary tale. And then the best single, it's a top 5 single, Follow You, Follow Me, Follow You, Follow Me, Follow You, Follow Me, Follow You, Follow Me. So Say It's Alright Joe, Scenes from a Night's Dream, Bring This Down. And we're faced with an album which gets 82%. I told you it gets 82%. Well done. So I'm putting it there. I'm just going to pick their albums up. This solo album gets, what can we give? Side 2 gets an 80%. Side 1 gets a 60%. So we'll call it 70%. Is it better than a Genesis album? Is it better than Trick of the Tail? I've left myself vulnerable there, haven't I? extended Mama and extended It's Gonna Get Better. Is there anything better than this? This is 100% single. I've just contradicted myself there completely as well. Phil, there we are. We're on Genesis. And I don't know why I've just done it. We're on more Phil there. It's Phil. I'm just filling here. And that's not the best one, is it? But the B-side is good. This is a classic. Look at this. I've shown you this before. It's a classic. I give this, if it was an album, I'd give it 90%. Tony, I love this album. It's got so much charm. It moves under the essence of Genesis, and it creates a fairly experimental and flawed, but I love it. Then we get to Genesis Duke. Has there ever been a better album than this? I was in hospital when this came out. I heard Please Don't Touch. I was seriously ill in hospital for 2 months, and I saw them when I got out on this tour. 1981. No, 1980, sorry. 1980. So, what do you do? Alone Tonight. That lets it down. Cul-de-sac lets it down. Man of Our Times, it doesn't let it down, but the vocals need to be kind of reprocessed because they sound processed enough. They need to be reprocessed. Everything else is absolute classic, apart from Misunderstanding, which is of course a pop song. But Cul-de-sac I can't get on with. I can't get on with Cul-de-sac. It's just too cumbersome, and it just doesn't flow. It's just too clumsy. If it was it sounds as if it's got a club foot. So there we are. Heat Haze with the Mellotron, later remixed with Mellotron, takes the biscuit. This at the moment is a fig roll. Heat Haze is a fig roll. If it had Mellotron, it would be a biscuit. So everything else on it is classic, and Phil's singing, especially live, was immense. So diolch Genesis. I give that, again, it's got 2 weak tracks, but the B-sides, of course. I mean, Vancouver, I forgot to talk about Vancouver is a classic B-side. And Evidence of Autumn always gets the plaudits, doesn't it? But we like the other B-side, Open Door, which is good as well. But again, the vocals suffer a little bit there. So I'm gonna give it. How much did I give them? And then there were 3 I gave, and then there were 3, 82. So I'm giving Duke 83. Yeah, because I saw them live with it. Now then, this is where it gets really interesting. I haven't heard this enough recently, and you've got to admit, side 2 is absolutely phenomenal. I heard Blood on the Rooftops recently, and it was like hearing a brand new song. So that gets, as songs, let's try and get the songs out of the way. All in a Mouse's Night gets far too much flack. It's a classic. It gets 94. Blood on the Rooftops gets 95. Afterglow gets 70. The 2 Unquiet Slumbers and In That Quiet Earth gets 97. So that's the type of stuff we're dealing with here. We're talking classic songs. 11th Hill of Mars side 1 is lyrically weak, and the refrain of Daddy, Daddy, Daddy gets on my nerves now. But the sound of Hackett playing that guitar with everybody else going around him is wonderful. It's just, that's a minor nitpick, okay? Then you got One for the Vine, which is superb live on 3 Sides Live, and it is a classic. That's another 93. 5%. Your Own Special Way gets 20%. Why? Why? It does make me angry. Why did they put that on there? They had Inside and Out. They had Pigeons. They had Match of the Day. And Hackett could have put Please Don't Touch on it. He could have put Kim on it, as the guy from Liverpool who does the documentaries, the wondrous documentaries, says. It just makes you so frustrated that Rutherford said, you have your own special way. I'm singing that better than Phil, and the arrangement was so slow, and again, that word, turgid. Every road that you take I take is the same on Small Coops Day. It's much better. It flows. Every road that I take is the same. You have Hackett. What's he doing with that guitar? That country-tinged guitar? It's just appalling. What Gorilla should be 7 minutes long. If you're going to do jazz, do jazz. Don't curtail it. Don't fade it out. Dear me. So that loses points. It loses points. But side 2 is wonderful. So how much do I give this? I give this 72%. Oh, I love this album. I've loved, like it or not, I love it. Damn. The Wall of Sound Genesis in the 1981. Man on the Corner, I tried to love it. It's okay. Dodo, classic. Lurker, classic. Who done it? I love it. Where are people's senses of humours? They need sense of humours. It's a joke song. People say, "Oh, what a disaster! What are they thinking?" It's funny. It's really funny. It sounds great. Like It or Not is great. Another record. I've tried to love it, and I do love it. Because it's an artistic statement. They're being sarcastic. They're doing something different. It's lazy, deliberately lazy. It's like the Grand Parade of lifeless packaging. No moans about that. Abacab, what a song. What a radio song. I was so funked out by that sound. They were rapping. They were there. They were rapping up the world. No reply at all. Have you heard that bass line? Have you heard that bass line? Have you heard the funk on that? It's just incredible. Me and Sarah Jane, okay, it's taken me 40 years to get into it properly. It is an absolute classic. Keep It Dark. Bow, 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 bow. I wish that I could really tell you. So they are all classic songs. The only thing that brings it down is not who done it, but Man on the Corner plods a bit. Everything else works. It works. I'm giving it 81%. I can't remember my marks. I'm not giving it too high because there are certain elements. I haven't got Invisible Touch to show you. I got the singles. Oh, sorry. Before we start, sorry. Have you heard 3x3? I have. I've got it on 7-inch single. Have you heard the tracks on it? If this had been a double album, it would have been brilliant. It would have been a 97%er. If they'd done if they'd done the Dodo Suite, is that what it was called? Yeah. If they'd done that, it would have been Submarine. It would have been Nani Nani Namu. Nani 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 Na. So that's 82% because they didn't venture. They didn't venture deep enough, but they were trying to do less is more. That's Phil. What a marvellous anthem that is. Here we go, Phil again. This is a classic. That I told my mates in school, Phil Collins makes the drums talk. Genesis Live, I haven't listened enough to this. The Knife I've never really got on with. Return of the Giant Hogweed is brilliant. Get 'Em Out by Friday is brilliant. Was my favourite early Genesis track from Foxtrot, which we'll get to in a minute. Watch of the Skies was immense, although spiritually it deals with the spiritual realities treated as fiction. So we've got to get back to the spiritual realities. And they know it as well, don't they? This is probably the best album, but it's a live album. Is it better than Three Sides Live now? I listened to it a couple of days ago and I thought, has it lost its essence of magic? I don't think it has, because side 4 is probably the best side of live music ever, isn't it? Cinema Show, Dance on a Volcano, Los Endos. Supper's Ready is probably the best song ever. Firth of Fifth is a classic song. I know I like it as a classic. Lamley's Down on Body is classic. Musical box ending thing is fine. I don't see what people get off on it, though. I mean, if you're going to have the whole song, fine. But just the ending, I don't know. Squonk, marvellous. Cabot Crawl is probably the best Genesis end of a show song ever, because it's so emotional in Rome, isn't it? You got to get in to get out. And they finished that in London as well, didn't they? The last when they played that. So it is a classic song. It is a classic song. And Afterglow. Oh, Robbery, Assault and Battery. What's a song? Come outside with your hands held high. So I'm giving this 96%, unequivocally. Hi, Pete and Kate. Hi, Pete. Don't break this rhythm. Don't break this rhythm. Red rain, walk through the fire. Oh, be cool. Sorry, Anthony, I haven't got around to listening to that one properly. Ditto, but I'm looking forward to listening to it properly. I love this album. This album is brilliant pop music and brilliant romanticism. Anthony Phillips, Sides. I don't think I want to know is a fantastic song, but look at that cover. For goodness sakes, what's going on there? What on earth is going on there? I mean, we all wanted it to succeed, didn't we? He tried to sing. He did. Fair play to him. I can't sing. I always sing. Who's fooling who? The Who. I love I Don't Want to Know, though. What a bass line that is. It's worth it for just that song. Now, there is a live version of Firth of Fifth on the B-side of That's All. Can you believe that? Daryl Sturmer. There is a exclusive live version of Firth of Fifth. I'm going to say it again. The whole of Firth of Fifth on that, on 12-inch. We'll play it soon. I love Throw It In All Away. I haven't got Invisible Touch to show you. It's a classic album, apart from a couple of songs. Do the Neurotic is an immense song. In Too Deep, I can just, there's no point, is there? There is no point. Hi, Pete. Okay. Hi, Birdie. Quite a good film. Haven't seen it before. This isn't a live album. He recorded it in the studio. Oh, we've got another So. And Us is a great album. I Want to Be Loved. Hi, Steve. That's marvellous. Not a perfect album by any means. He should have stayed in Genesis, let's face it. And this has got some fantastic tunes, but it's just 80s production with a drum machine. And he tries to sing his heart out, which I can't knock that. I mean, Picture Postcard is beautiful. I hope I don't wake in the morning is beautiful. The Funny Feeling is great with some... Cradle of Swans is beautiful. Overnight Sleeper is brilliant. The Air Conditioned Nightmare works. It works. Turn Back Time. Truly, probably the worst song ever released. I've just realised the Genesis album isn't with me. Hi, Phil. He's got to go. So, Abacab. Not Abacab, we've done that. So Genesis by Genesis. I love Taking It All Too Hard. I love Illegal Alien. I love Mama. I love That's All. But it's been overplayed. I love Home by the Sea, but it's been overplayed live. Home by the sea. How much am I going to give Genesis by Genesis? Oh, it's going to get better. It's such a fantastic song. But why did they curtail it on the album? It loses marks for that. Silver Rainbow is good, but that synthy drum kind of gets a bit ponderous for after a while. Just a Job to Do. It's a good song, but has it lost its magic? I give Genesis by Genesis 80%. I give it 79%. It's not as good as Three Sides Live in its vitality. Invisible Touch, how much does that get? Because of the B-sides that were omitted, Invisible Touch gets what I mentioned before. It gets I haven't got it to show you either. The Brazilian, what are they doing with that? I mean, Do the Neurotic is much better than the Brazilian. Although I heard a live version of Brazilian, which is brilliant. I didn't go and see him live. And finally, after Invisible Touch, you got We Can't Dance. JP did it recently. I love On the Shoreline, the B-sides. And I love the other B-side, Hearts on Fire. And I love the other funky one, which was on the B-side of the 12-inch single, Throwing It All Away. I'd Rather Be You. I like that one as well. That's very Phil Collinsy, but it's good. It's better Phil Collins, because you can still tell the difference between Genesis Phil Collins and Phil Collins solo. There's a marked difference in his vocal cadence, or if that's a posh word, I do apologise if I've used it malaproperly. Good. I think we've come to a decision. Therefore, the best Genesis album, data-wise, is this one. But I've surprised myself by. Are we calling all stations? Let me tell you now. I heard a reviewer. What was his name? Oh, I can't remember his name. But I heard one track at a time, and I thought they were much better than the whole complete of album, Calling All Stations. So I saw them live. I fell in love with their acoustic Follow You, Follow Me. They should have done a second album and just blossomed. Who knows what would have happened? It would have been better than Mike and the Mechanics and Tony's solo stuff, surely. Although Bank Statement was good and a few others. I'm always willing to listen to Tony Banks' stuff, but he seems he's trying a bit too hard as opposed to taking it a bit too hard. So there we are. I've had to rush. Life has caught up with me. Hold it in, Hill. I'm glad you've heard this. Diolch yn fawr am wrando. Thank you for listening. We shall expand on the Genesis phenomena next time. Diolch yn fawr am wrando. Thank you for listening. All the best to you. I'm a granddad again.